ninth graders, it's Miss Fletcher. Today's Monday, October 5th. We started not a new chapter today, but a new section in chapter 18. So it's chapter 18, section 2. You can find it in your textbook on pages 390, 391. That's the pages that we did today. And what we're talking about is adverbs. Okay, so we did adjectives, and now we're going to do adverbs. So adverbs add meaning to three parts of speech. Okay, first of all, an adverb is a word that modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. So no nouns. It doesn't modify nouns. It modifies a verb, an adjective, or another adverb. Okay, so adverbs modifying verbs can add meaning to verbs in many different ways. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. That's adverbs modifying verbs. Okay, so for instance, if I said something like ate or overslept or painted, okay, so I'm going to write those down. So ate, overslept, painted. So you can see I have three words here. If you can see it, ate, overslept, painted. Okay. Okay, so supposing I wanted to modify those words. I might say something like hungrily, quickly, slowly, greedily, or with the word overslept, I might say yesterday, today, let's see, maybe always, often, and with the word painted, I might say sloppily, nicely, quickly, or any word like that. So here's what I did. Okay, so you have the word ate, and I added words such as hungrily, quickly, slowly, or greedily. Okay, or if I said overslept, I added words like yesterday, today, always, or often. Okay, and then for painted, I added words like nicely, sloppily, and quickly. Okay, so these words that I added, this is a verb, ate, overslept, painted. These are verbs, and I added adverbs to describe them or to modify them. For instance, I might say the children ate hungrily, or the children ate quickly, or the children ate slowly. Okay, so any of those words, quickly, hungrily, slowly, are modifying the verb ate. Okay, those are adverbs, and they're modifying the verb. For instance, overslept, you might say, Tom overslept yesterday, or Tom overslept today, or Tom oversleeps often, or Tom always oversleeps. These words, yesterday, today, often, always, they are adverbs modifying the word overslept or oversleeps. Same with painted. Okay, painted is your verb, and then I added adverbs to modify it, like Dad painted sloppily, or Dad painted quickly, or Dad painted nicely. So you're adding adverbs to modify the verb. Okay? So that's pretty much what adverbs modifying verbs are and what they do. Okay? So they adverbs that modify verbs answer 4 questions. Okay? The questions are where, when, in what way, or to what extent. Okay? So again, if you are saying the children ate slowly, you're saying in what way they ate. Or actually, you're saying to what extent they ate. What extent did they eat? They ate slowly. Or if you're saying Dad painted nicely, you're saying in what way he painted. He painted nicely. Or if you're saying, let's see, let me look. I always overslept. Okay, to what extent did you oversleep? Or when did you oversleep? Always. Okay, so those are the questions they answer. Where, when, to what extent, and in what way. In what way, okay? So if you say Dad painted nicely, you're saying that he painted in what way? He painted nicely. So those are the questions that you need to know that adverbs that modify verbs answer. Okay, for instance, where? Okay, I could say fell below, went there, move aside, or climbs down. Okay, so that's where. When, arrived today, left early, should have been before, or begins then. That's when. In what way? Happily ran, danced awkwardly, will end abruptly, had been singing loudly. Okay, so that's in what way. And then to what extent? That one's a little tricky, but you always want to ask yourself, like, if I say the dog partly understands, partly would be the adverb that modifies understands, and it would be to what extent. To what extent does he understand? He partly understands. Or if I said wash the dog completely, then completely is the adverb, modifies the verb wash. To what extent do I want you to wash the dog? Completely. Okay? So that's how that one works. That one can be a little tricky and a little confusing. So hopefully you will be able to figure those out or be able to answer those questions. Okay, so I'm going to read you a little blurb, if you will, on page 391, and you can reread it and understand what I'm talking about, okay? So this is from the first inaugural address of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, okay? Notice how the highlighted adverbs, which are wisely and courageously, in the following excerpt, answer the questions in what way. So this is just an example of how they answer a question. So what he says is, our greatest primary task is to put people to work. This is no unsolvable problem if we face it wisely and courageously. So if you look at the words wisely and courageously, they are both modifying the noun face. If we face it wisely and courageously, those two adverbs are modifying the noun face, and they are answering the question, in what way? Okay, in what way can we face it? Wisely and courageously. Okay, and the way you know that wisely and courageously are adverbs is because both of them modify a verb, the verb being face. Okay, so that's how you know when a word is an adverb. So it's going to always modify a verb. Now, it will also modify an adjective and an adverb, but we're going to talk about that in another lesson. Today, we're just talking about how it modifies verbs. Okay? So, let's see. Hang on. Give me 1 second. Okay. So, again, adverbs modifying verbs. So they say where. If you say looked around, he looked around. Where did he look? He looked around. Or he turned right. Where did he turn? He turned right. If you want to use when, answer the question when. They awoke early. When did they awake? They awoke early. Our train arrived yesterday. When did your train arrive? Arrived yesterday. That's when. And then you have in what manner or in what way. The team easily won. In what way did they win? Easily. Okay? The girls ran fast. In what way did they run? Fast. And then to what extent, again, you're measuring a degree basically here. let's see. So had barely touched. To what extent had that touched? Barely. Okay. Thoroughly understood. The students thoroughly understood. To what extent did they understand? Thoroughly. Okay. So that's kind of how you answered those questions. Okay. So, what I'm going to have you do, if you will, is on page 391 of your textbook, exercise 20. Exercise 20 says identifying adverbs that modify verbs. So I would like for you to make 4 columns on your paper, and I'm going to try to draw this out for you so you see what I'm talking about. Okay. So I drew 4 columns on this piece of paper. See? And then on the top, I'm going to label them. First, I'll say where, and I'll show you this in a minute. When, to, in what way, and to what extent. And then you can number them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. I'm just drawing an arrow. So here's what your paper should look like. Okay. So I have 4 columns. In one I have where. In the top of the next one I have when. Top of the next one I have in what way. And the top of the next one is to what extent. Those are the 4 questions that the adverbs are going to answer. So, and then you have your numbers 1 through, there's 20 questions here. So I'm going to do the first 2 for you, and I'll fill in the little column so you can understand how to do the exercise and what you need to do. So I'll do the first 2, then you can fill them in, as you're doing it. And then you need to do 3 through 20 and turn that in as an assignment. That's it was a classwork assignment. So we'll just call it that. Okay. So the first one says ancient peoples often saw designs in the stars called constellations. Okay. So ancient peoples often saw. So my adverb there is often, modifying the verb saw. Adverb is often, modifying saw. And I'm asking, when did they see it? They often saw it. So you're going to put saw in the column under when. Number 1 will be saw in the column under when. Excuse me. So hopefully that makes sense to you. So you're just going to take the adverb, you're going to put it in the column where it belongs. Okay? So that in that case, number 1, you see it's numbered, putting it in when. Okay? The second one says they carefully named the constellations after various religious figures, animals, and objects. Okay, so the second adverb is carefully. All right, so you're going to write carefully. I can't really fit it in my little block here, but okay, and that is in what way? In what way did they name them? They named them carefully. So number 2, here's number, excuse me. It's very dry in here when the air conditioner comes on. Number 2, the adverb is carefully, and it is in what way? So it answers that question. So I'm just putting it. Then number 3, you'll put it in whichever column, 4, 5, and etc. I'm so sorry. Let me grab a little swallow of water. I apologize. When the air conditioner comes on in the classroom, it gets very dusty. It makes me cough, so I apologize for that. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. That's your exercise. Okay, so again, I'd like you to read the information on page 390 on page 390 where it explains adverbs that modify verbs. Read the key concepts. Look at the chart, please, so you can see what the differences are in the 4 questions. Don't worry about exercise 19. That's not a problem. But I do want you to do exercise 20 on page 391. We did the first two together, or I did them for you. So you can just fill those in. Excuse me. And then you do 3 through 20 and turn those in. Okay, that will be due on Wednesday, October 7th. That's day after tomorrow. That's when that will be due. Okay, so that's all you need to do. However, if you have any questions or you need any help or any assistance, please email me, let me know, and I'll, be able to Zoom with you or answer an email if you have any questions or whatever. So just let me know for sure. The other thing I wanted to let you know is our term ends on Thursday, the 8th. So you'll probably have 2 more assignments. You won't have another test. There may be a quiz on this stuff on Wednesday, which is when I have your class again. So there may be a quiz on that, and I will put it on Google Classroom. And in that case, we do that day. And that will probably be your last grade, other than the homework assignment that I'll give you for Wednesday. Okay, now if I can, I'm going to scan a worksheet for you to do as well, which would be homework. If I can't scan it, I'm going to either exempt you from it or I'm going to type it out and send it to you guys on Google Classroom. So I'll try to decide what to do there. So make sure that all of your assignments are in by Thursday, because that's the end of our term. Now, next term, you're going to have deadlines. I didn't stick to them as toughly this term, probably as I would have, but because you're doing it online, learning, etc. online, I know it's a little bit difficult, but most of you have done the work and gotten it in, and I thank you for that. But some of you have been a little bit lax, so you're going to need to do better next term, because I will not be accepting the late assignments past 1 day. So, for instance, if you have something due on Wednesday and you get it in by Thursday, then I'll accept it. But after that, then it would be a 0. And if it's late, then it'll be 10 points off. So, again, we're going into our second term, so you've been in school for a whole 9 weeks. The way this works is you should be taking your classes when the rest of the kids are taking their classes. Even though you're online, you still need to make that time to, schedule out your classes. So, for instance, you have me second period, and every week it's either Tuesday or Thursday or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You could be spending that time doing your work and getting it in when you need to. So that's kind of what's expected. So after these first 9 weeks, I think you should be used to that. You should be used to the system. You should know that your work needs to be turned in on time. There's not really any reason why it shouldn't be. Okay, so if you have any questions or any concerns or you need any assistance, you can email me and let me know. Okay, so that's about it for today. So I hope you have a wonderful evening. And I will see you again probably on Wednesday online, on a video, because we'll be learning something new on Wednesday as well. So check Google Classroom in case I do scan the assignment and put it on there. And then just do that assignment for me and turn it in by Wednesday. The exercise 20 on page 391 of your textbook. Okay? Thanks. Okay. Have a great evening. Bye.